Hi folks, we're coming to you live from the Blackhawk with our seminar series.
Second one.
Second one,
We have a few tips you don't want to miss.
stay tuned.
We're going to be going over some questions that people have. I know we had a lot of questions. We're going to be showing you guys a couple of different knots. A combo rod and reel that J&B Tackle has put together. But we'll bring you right on over here first.
We'll start off with some questions from last week that we unfortunately didn't get to answer. Pete wanted to know if fluorocarbon is worth the money. You want to?
Fluorocarbon is worth the money in certain types of fishing, such as works very, very well in squid fishing, tuna fishing as well, which we don't do a lot of. We're not going to get into that, but it's very popular for that. Sometimes it makes a difference with the night bass fishing when, let's say, the moon's out or we have crystal clear water. That's very, very popular. It makes a difference. For not all species though, porgy fishing, sea bass fishing, black fishing, I haven't seen much of a difference with the fluorocarbon. I've used it, but to my knowledge and to what I've seen customer-wise, me fishing-wise, I don't see much of a difference in that kind of fishing. But it does help with the squid.
If you really want to see something, the squid, we were using as little as 12 and 14 pound test fluorocarbon on the squid, and you'll get a guy fishing alongside of you that's got regular monofilament, even though it might be 20 or 30.
It's still very thin. It makes
Very thin, but they can see it. And he's not catching, and the guy with the fluoro is. So, in
It does
certain
make a
types of
difference,
fishing.
yes.
Let's see, an Abbott reel, good for night bass and cod fishing. What do we have?
Yes,
for
we
that?
do have one to show you guys. It's an Abbott MX.
He wanted to know what an Abbott reel was. If there's an Abbott reel.
Abbott, USA made, nice stuff. This is your MX. It is perfect for the night bass fishing, perfect for the cod fishing, a little bigger species of fish as far as bluefish as well. You can use it sea bassing, you can use it for everything, but the Abbott MX is a good reel for your night bass and your cod fishing. That retails for, do we know that? These are prices that were going off at the local tackle shop again, where we did our last seminar, J&B Tackle.
$219.95.
So like we say, you may be able to find them cheaper, different models, that's fine, but that's what we're going off of. The Abbott MX is the reel that we had a question. Who asked that? Jeff, right? Jeff did.
Jeff did, yeah.
So to answer Jeff's question, hopefully that helps. Abbott MX.
Ferdinand wanted to know if he could use a spinning rod, spinning gear. That's an awful vague question. It depends what type of spinning gear. There's all different types. We see so many different types on here. A lot of the freshwater stuff is okay.
In the spring.
In the spring, even for the squid, it's really good for that. But in the deep water, like what we're fishing for now with the cod fishing, I would say definitely not.
Yeah, I would shy away from that. I'd get some different tackles.
Anyhow.
Around a reel.
One of the things that we get asked quite a bit in these surveys is how to tie monofilament to braid line. So I'm going to let CJ, we're going to try our best here to show you, okay? It's not a very difficult knot, but it does have to be tied the right way. It's what they call a top shot.
Mm-hmm.
You don't fill your reel with braid, you fill it with monofilament, and then put whatever amount of braid you're going to be using. If you're going to be cod fishing in 100, 150 feet of water, you might put 200 feet of braid on.
Yeah, you want a little bit of backing on the bottom to start. Then you fill your reel with the braid, whatever it may be, whether you're like 200-300 feet, 200-300 yards. Then you put a little top shot on. The top shot is the knot I'm going to show you. It's your braid to monofilament knot, and it's a little tricky. Like I said, we're going to do the very best we can show you here with what we got to work with. I hope everybody can see it, and I'm going to go as slow as possible so you guys can see me. Randy, I hope you can get it on the knot itself rather than me, but we'll do the best we can. So, take your braided line. I hope everybody can see. We picked yellow tonight for you guys to see the best. So braided line, take it, and double it up, all right? Lay it over each other.
So you have a loop right there.
Yeah, and keep it tight. There's a lot of work to do with your fingers. Take your monofilament. Now, I know monofilament's tough to see in the video, but if you can, monofilament, okay? End of your monofilament, through the loop, up, give yourself a little bit, pull some through. All right, so essentially now it's through the loop. My thumb and my pointer finger is stopping it. give it a little pinch. Keep this loop open. Switch fingers, hold that loop, all right? Take that monofilament, and you're kind of working with both fingers here, both hands. Twist 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, okay? Now that loop with this finger that I'm pinching over here, open it up a little, take your tag end of your monofilament, go through it, all right? Start to pull with both hands. Now it's important at the end, you got to give it a little wet because it'll start to slip.
You're lubricating it.
That's all you're doing. I know people get upset if we're lubricating stuff right now, but at home you guys can do this. Cinch things down nice and slow, okay? That.
Trim off the tag ends.
Yep, and I'll show you guys if I can get to them. Take your pair of pliers, give it a nice clean cut right at the end. And essentially, braided line to your rod and
there's the
reel,
knot.
and here's your top shot. Okay? So that's what the knot looks like. I hope everybody can see it. But you always start with the monofilament. Now there's,
Is it better to?
Yeah, there you go. That
There you-
helps me.
like I said, we're just trying this out so you guys can see. We hope it works. We hope it's efficient. We could always show these again, but it's just the idea.
It's not a hard knot to learn. You just have to practice a little bit, and it makes a difference that you lubricate it. Not only that knot,
Yeah.
all knots when you're pulling them together, lubricate it and pull it together, make it slide together, and you'll see if it comes out right. It looks right.
You will.
It just looks right.
There are some other knots that you could tie as well. We won't get into those as far as the FG knot. There's I believe, a reverse Albright. There's also uni to uni, but we'll start with that one for sure, and we can improve on the other ones as we go along. But we wanted to show you guys the basic one. The other knot we wanted to show was the dropper. Is that correct? People were asking about that.
Dropper
Okay,
loop.
let me find some bigger stuff. This should be big enough.
How to create a dropper loop.
This I'll use a little bigger monofilament. This is just a dropper loop, okay? Very simple.
Let them see what a dropper loop is to begin with. This is
Okay,
it right
so-
here. Okay, this is our cod fishing rig. This is a dropper loop. You can see how it stands off the main line. When done correctly, it holds that hook off. Okay, this is what we use for cod fishing. This one's a dropper hook, a dropper loop here with a hook on it, and then down on the bottom is another dropper loop, but we put the sinker in that dropper loop and have the tag end go to a snelled hook. Okay, and this works very, very well. Okay,
Now,
so-
we tie dropper loops for everything though as well. If we're making our standard porgy rig, sea bass rig, we all
Yep.
the high-low rig that we use all summer long, all season long, those have 2 dropper loops on them as well. I'll demonstrate a dropper loop. I hope everybody can see, like we said, using some heavy duty mono. This isn't the mono we prefer to use, just use it as a demonstration, okay? Take 2 ends, give yourself a couple of feet. Bring them together, all right? See what I'm doing? Essentially making a big loop here. Yeah, Greg, grab that. So you got a loop, okay? Now again, this is a 2-hand system. Bring both hands together like this and start twisting. But you gotta hold the twists in your fingers. Twist 7 times at least, because it'll slip with anything less. Then you got your twists, take this end, and again, you gotta use your teeth. Slowly
See how that pulls
bring
together?
it in. And again, lubrication.
See how that pulls
Cinch it right
together?
down.
There's your loop.
And that's a perfected dropper loop. That won't pull out unless obviously you hang bottom or something.
You could break it.
Yeah, you
It's
could
not
break
gonna-
it.
It's
It's not
not
gonna
the
pull
knot's
out.
not gonna let go.
You have to remember to twist at least 7 times. We've tried twisting 5, 6, they pull. We've had some problems with the manufacturers. That's why we're tying our own rigs from now on. I mean, obviously we'll still have some manufactured rigs, but we prefer to tie these now because we can perfect them and know that if you guys lose a fish or if a dropper loop pulls, it's on us, not on the manufacturer. So we're going to be demonstrating some of those all summer long for you guys. I will show the snell.
Snelling.
Okay.
That's
Now-
these are the three biggest questions we've had.
Yeah.
And we've had literally dozens out of the hundreds of people. I would like to say, if you have a question, if you want to see something again, you can text us right now. And my daughter
answer.
Heather is standing by, and Randy can see if any texts come up. We'd like to be interactive with you. We're doing this for you, and we want to talk about and try to explain what you want us to talk about, not what we want to talk about. And again, I said this last week. This is everything we're saying. These are our opinions. You can talk to somebody else. Maybe they'll do it in a different way. But it's having been in the business for
Quite some time.
quite some time. I mean, this seems to work good for us. So I'm not saying this is the only way of doing it. This is our way of doing it, and hopefully you can pick up a couple of pointers here.
Okay, back to the snell. There are many different ways you can snell. This is just one of them. Okay, this is the one that I've got accustomed to. I can tie it pretty quickly, but there are many different ways, and if you have another way that you can do it, be my guest. This is just one I could like to show you guys. Okay, so hook, monofilament. Go through, sorry, bad eyes sometimes. Go through, pull a couple of feet, all right? Now all you're doing, bring that hand with your tag end over the hook. See what I'm doing? So you're making another loop, all right? Now you pinch again. So essentially you have a loop. You still see your tag end right here. Take the end and wrap around the whole hook, okay? Go once. Now this is important. You go once towards your tag end and then go make an X. Cross it back towards the shank of your hook. Lay them flush. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I go 7 times. I'm sure you can go a little less. So you wrap it, they're all laid flush. Grab that tag end, and you have to use your teeth for this one, or at least I do. Give it a pull, right through. Take a pair of pliers, and slowly cinch her down. Okay? Now that is your snell. Like I said, there's many different ways you could do it. Let me clean it up before we show them the finished product. But that is essentially your snell. The one I like to do, I'm the quickest at it. If there's a better one that you guys know, or one you're quicker at, be my guest.
It's a lot better in most hooks to snell it on there than it is to tie a regular knot.
I'll show you the dropper loop. The same rig Greg just showed you for the cod. This is where it started, with the same exact snell was on it. So pull off a couple of feet. Again, the snell I showed you with the heavy mono. Lay it across each other. Now you have to pull to your various length, what you prefer. I like to leave a foot from my dropper loop where my sinker is going to be to my snelled hook. And make sure you give yourself a big enough loop to put a heavy sinker on. Sometimes people make them so small, you can't get a 12-ounce sinker on it. So you got to make your loop big enough to be able to fit a heavy sinker.
Yeah, you guys can make dropper loops any size. It's all on how big you make the loop.
Start wrapping, but keep everything tight. And
That
you gotta
was
hold it
cameraman
together.
Randy.
That's it. People gotta know that you can
These guys are making a lot of loops, believe me.
make them any size you want. It's just on how big you make the loops.
Cinch it down. There's your dropper loop, okay?
That's where the sinker is going to go
Yeah.
if this is a codfish rig.
And then
And then he's going to
Make another
He's
one.
going to make another dropper loop for the hook
For the
up
top
on
hook.
top.
again, once I make my sinker, I like to leave another foot and a half to your next dropper loop. And this one doesn't have to be as big because essentially you're just putting a hook on it. But again, dropper loop, lay the line across each other, twist, start, you gotta hold your fingers together. That's very important. Keep twisting 7 times. Bring that loop through that little hole that you're holding. And cinch it down. Okay?
There it is.
And then clean up your ends. This is going to go to your main line.
We put the sinker on the dropper loop on the bottom.
Take a hook,
There's your snelled hook on the bottom,
and here's your hook. from
and
the
here's
top.
your hook up on the top. There
There
you
you have
go, ready to go. See how that's held right out? It keeps itself away from the main line.
We like to use this rig. We're going to try it in the spring for the porgies, as we've noticed. Some of the porgies in the spring, when they're spawning, they like to feed off the bottom, opposed to as a high-low rig. Some of them like to eat that bait directly on the sand. So we're going to tie these in the spring and give them a shot and see how they work. So it might not just be a cod rig. And if it's very, very popular and it starts to work, you'll be able to purchase them from us. When you get on the boat, we'll be rigging your rods with them. So hopefully it's a successful rig, and it's not just for cod. But those are your standard knots, dropper loops, snells. I'll let you take it away with a couple of things you want to talk about.
Well, I want to tell them about an accident we had on board the boat a couple of years ago, and maybe I forgot the gentleman's name. He fishes with us a long time.
I wasn't here. I don't think I worked for you yet.
I can't remember. He was tying a bucktail, and he was tying it with a 130-pound monofilament. Okay, you can use heavy mono. Let me tell you something. That's a tip. You want a tip? Here it is. We use heavy mono when we're fishing at night in the race for the striped bass. And the reason we use the heavy mono on there, they're not that line shy in that deeper water and that lot of current. And what happens, the heavy line presents the lure better than lighter line does. And the reason it does that is the line coming off that lure, the current hits the line and helps to pick the lure up off the bottom, if you can imagine. Okay, so that's a tip worth taking to the bank. I'll tell you right now. Some people come and they try to use 50-pound fluorocarbon, and we tell them it's not the thing. It's not the thing to use. Yeah, but they see it, and they're not going to see it. That heavy mono, when that current hits it, it presents that lure in a better position because of the heavy mono.
It
That
comes
said,
up off the bottom a little bit. So
that said, he was tying that 130-pound test. And he tied the knot, and he went to grab it like this with his pliers, and he's up on the bridge and back of the bridge, and he's got the mono wrapped around his hand, and he's pulling that knot tight, and he went to wet it, and he was holding the tag end, the little piece coming out of there. He's holding that, and he's pulling that 130-pound test line, and he's pulling it to tighten that knot up, and it come off the pliers and went wham! And it stuck in his lip. And he came up to me. I wish I had a picture of it. I was so shocked from the blood coming down off his chin. And he said to me, the thing's hanging off his lip. He says, just pull it out, Cap. Just grab it and pull it out. I'm like, oh my God, pull it out. We had to go down there, push it all the way through, cut it off, take it. I wish I had a photo because it's a once-in-a-lifetime shot. Nobody's going to do that again, I'll tell you right now. But that was a good one. But you got to be a little careful. Okay, but that's a 130-pound test, pulling it as hard as you can.
I wouldn't say nobody's going to do it again.
Well,
we do see some stuff.
We've seen hooks in ears, necks, this, that, but that was one of the worst. He was, I know maybe he's listening to me. He just got out of the Marine Corps. He's a tough little dude. But man, when I saw that, what a picture. That bright colored bucktail with the blood coming down and him saying, just pull it out. Just pull it out, Cap.
I did read a question, and you were asking when we're going to be starting squid fishing. Now that all depends on water temperature. We are going to be starting, I'd like to hope, towards the end of April. I know last year we missed it, obviously because of COVID. The year before we fished all of May, and it was really, really good. We may try last week of April to start, just to see if they're there, but definitely May at night. And stay tuned. If the water temperature stays up, or if we have a very, very warm spring, then we'll be fishing sooner for them. It all depends on the water temperature, though. I don't know the exact water temperature of what they decide to bite in, as far as the squid goes. But if we have a warm spring, I don't see why they wouldn't.
It's a lot of fun squid fishing. You can use light tackle.
Do you have a question, Randy?
Yeah, Davey White wants to know when we're going to go fishing again.
Well, it all depends on the weather, Dave. This time right now, we have a lot of wind. It's winter time. It's cold. The wind, you might have a beautiful day up in the hills or on land, but outside of Block Island, if it's blowing 20, 25, we can't go, especially...
It's just miserable.
With the cold, we have to wait and pick and choose our days. We are looking at next week. It's a few days away, obviously, but from what I can see, there might be a couple of nice days coming up towards the end, so if we do get to go, you guys will be the first to know, obviously, and we look forward to getting back out there on the cod grounds. There are some fish to be caught, I hope.
It hasn't been,
it's been a pick.
It was good, it's hit or miss. I mean, we've had some trips in the past month here where, yeah, we've had, 40, 50, 60 fish, some nice fish, big fish, and then you go out 2 days later and you struggle to get a dozen. I mean, but that's
cod fishing, and a lot of our customers know that.
That's just how it is, I mean, if you're trying to fill the cooler every time, it's just not the time of the year to come for you. You know, the people come, I know why they come. They come because they hope that day is going to be the hit.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to charter.
As we do too. I mean, that's why we're going.
I used to charter 25 years ago, and we had a great 25, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we had a great cod fishing business built up, and we'd book a year in advance in April and May, and those people would pick that date or 2 or 3, and they knew out of those 2 months that there was going to be 15 or 20 days that were going to be dynamite, man. I mean, we're going to knock the jock off them. And they were hoping that one of those days that they picked was one of them. And that's all there is to it. And the people that go with us today, they look at it the same way. They're hoping for that hit.
We have a
We want the hit.
I know. We have a handful of guys that are there every single trip, good, bad, or ugly. They're there every single trip, and they're doing the same thing, anticipating a big hit as we are, and let's hope that it happens. We are leaving the boat in. We are certainly not done fishing. We're going to plug away as long as those codfish decide to show up, and we'll go from there. What do you got?
One of the other questions from last week was, why do we use a double line on our diamond jigs? Number one, these are our diamond jigs. These are hammered jigs. These are fairly expensive jigs. These are not cheap, but they do catch the best. Okay. We also use what's called a Siwash hook. That is not your typical hook. That is, we put them on special. Okay, that is a Siwash hook. You can see the gap is much larger. Why do we use it? Not because it's just expensive. It catches better. There's no question about it. You hook more fish with this. There's not many boats that use these because they're expensive, but they do catch better. And you have to match that hook to the size of that jig. Okay? We had another jig around here with a J hook. This is an Ava jig, and this is a standard J hook, okay? A very inexpensive hook. Will it catch fish? Sure it will. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? But you're going to hook more fish with a Siwash. I buy these are custom made for us. I buy them without a hook, and then we buy the hooks wholesale by the tens of thousands, and we put them on. But Siwash hook, much better. But explain to them why we double up.
The double line, guys. The double line. For one, we do a lot of flipping fish. Now, what's that mean? We don't like to use the gaffs often for the bluefish, quite frankly, because they get up to the side of the boat, they go ballistic. You get a bad gaff. You get a bad gaff shot, it's going right to meat. So we don't want to ruin the meat on you. So a lot of times, unless they're real big, we like to flip them in. The double line concept gives you a little more strength to flip it in. And quite frankly, bluefish have teeth. If one decides to eat the top of the jig and break one of the lines, essentially you have an extra piece of line to get them in. But I'll show you. I know we got a little memory here. Pull that memory out of that line there. I'm just going to show you the. Actually, I need this in. Sorry.
Go ahead.
This, you double up the line, a couple of feet, 3 feet. These are just your simple overhand knots. I like to do 2, just to secure it. But you could do 1. Simple overhand knot. I'm using Big Mono again, just for demonstration. If you've been with us before, obviously it's a lot thinner than this. We use 50-pound test a lot for our blue fishing. So now, this is off your main line to your rod, okay? And
that's doubled there, Jay.
Doubled up.
You got a big loop.
You see how there's 2 lines here? People ask all the time, why is it doubled? Well, this is why, because we tend to lose a few bluefish at times. I'm sure you guys know they have teeth. But to tie this on, it's very simple. This is your standard clinch knot. Double up the line, through the rig, bring it up, okay? Everybody can see that. All you're doing now is making wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to do 5. You can go a little further, but depending on the line size, makes a difference. And then all you're doing, keep everything tight. Lubricate it, and cinch it right down, okay?
There it is.
That's your standard clinch knot. Now this is Big Mono. It's not made for this, ideally, but always clean up your tag ends, okay?
Now, one of the advantages to doing this on a head boat, because
we get so many tangles.
We get tangles. There's no question. You get tangles with this. So what we tell the people is when we get in a tangle, the mates just cut that off. And if your line comes back cut with a double line, we cut it. Now, some people hang them on the bottom and they pop the thing off and it comes back with a single
They say,
line.
"You cut my line."
And they say, we cut your line. No, we didn't cut your line. No, if you cut your line, if we cut it, it'd come back with a double line.
There's been a lot of jigs saved that come back with one of those pieces still attached to the jig because the bluefish
The
teeth will hit
bluefish
them.
ate one and
So
the other
it
one
saves
held
the
it.
jig, you know?
But
So that's-
normally, if we get into a nasty tangle and we cut it, that's your the line goes slack, fish comes off. That's your bluefish because we were the ones that cut it. And it's also for durability and strength as well. Do we have a question?
Yeah, Ant wants to know if we're going to be selling those hoodies on the boat. He really likes your hooded sweatshirt there.
We do have for sale at the dock, right? I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have them at the dock. We don't sell them on the boat.
You can catch about 15 to 20% better with a Black Hawk shirt on.
Yeah,
No matter what
you can.
boat you're on. You know?
I believe you can order them, correct?
Yeah, you could call the office. I'm sure we could get you one if you wanted to send
Yeah,
one.
one too,
or you
yeah.
could come over.
These got the color back. There's a
I
numerous
don't know what mine
numerous
has.
kinds.
Does mine have? What is
Oh,
mine?
you got the other one.
You got the other one. One shot, one kill.
Okay. think
And
this
I
is
got
all
the,
one.
I got the color back, you know.
Last thing we want to discuss, I believe, is this rod and reel combo and a code. Is that correct?
That's true. We had a lot of people ask about first-time people. You know, a lot of you people that are watching this is really geared for the beginner fishermen. We're trying to help everybody out and get more people involved in the fishery, more kids. But we are. J&B Tackle came up with a rod and reel combo. It's the Black Hawk Special. I'll
That's
let
what
you
they're calling it at the shop,
describe
right?
it. Right.
Is that what they're calling it? This is a Daiwa Seagate, and I know we talked about it at the first seminar we did. Fairly inexpensive reel, I believe 120, I believe.
I have.
Anyways, this whole setup right here will cost you under $200, no problem. I believe.
No, it's not going to cost you $200. It is going to cost you a Daiwa 30 and the rod and reel. It is. Yeah, it's a special.
Yeah.
182,
This is special.
182.95. It's regular 215 bucks.
So I was right. It's going to cost
I'm
you.
sorry. I beg to be
It's going
different.
to cost you under a couple $100.
But it's a good rod and reel that you can use for a lot of things.
This rod itself, we use these on the boat. It's a tsunami rod. If you guys can see those, a lot of our rental rods are the same kind. It's a, what is this, a 6 foot?
It's a graphite combo.
About a 6 foot rod, graphite combo. And this is a great beginner start out rod for your porgies, your sea bass, your fluke. Little deeper water, up to 60, 80 feet. I wouldn't recommend giving this thing the beating through the cod fishing season. Will it work? Absolutely. I wouldn't recommend it for night bass, but this is your starter out package, beginners Black Hawk special. And there's a code, I believe, right?
You can-
That
anybody
J&B
that-
Tackle is offering. This is an online-
J&B Tackle, Carrie and Kyle said that if you go online and you use the code now, okay, they will give you a discount applied to your order. There may be exclusions to that, okay, but you will get I think it's 20%. I think it's
I'm not sure.
20%.
Anyways, it's a discount though.
Or
So-
15%. I think 15%.
Yeah, I believe it's 15.
It's a
But anyways,
discount.
you're getting a discount. If you use the online Black Hawk Now, all one word,
And there are, like I said, there are exclusions to it. So it's not for everything, but you can find that out. Anything else you want to talk about there, buddy?
well, I know we're going to do quite a few more of these.
Yeah. How long have we been on there? Can't remember.
Oh, just about a half an hour.
Okay.
Really? Wow, that's long.
7:28.
I know, like you guys did last time, we have a lot of questions and comments. Feel free to keep asking. We try to get to as many as I can, but we are going to be doing these for a couple months anyways, the
Yeah,
seminars.
every week we'll be doing them every Thursday at 7 o'clock to give you a little bit of information.
Maybe one day we'll go over some gear to wear, the proper gear. We might
We're
even go as
even
far
going
as...
to do we're going to do a cooking one. Maybe we'll get Carrie down
We
here.
might even cook a piece of fish for you guys.
Yeah. But
Keep your questions coming. Don't
keep
be
everything
afraid to ask
questions,
them.
okay? And
Well, one more question. That person wants to know how much line that reel can hold in the box. They're going to put braid on it.
Let's see.
Since you have the box there, does it?
Okay. This can hold 210 yards, a 20-pound test. I don't know if that's braid, but
It'll hold plenty.
I would
say that's mono.
assume it's going to hold at least a couple hundred yards of 50-pound braid. 30-pound braid, a couple hundred yards, and that's plenty.
More than you need.
Yeah, more than you need. So it'll hold quite a bit of line for all the fishing we're gonna do. Some reels actually say what the braid and mono they can hold. Yeah, this one.
It'll hold plenty for what we'd be fishing with it
Yeah,
for.
if you can see, it's got a fairly deep spool. So you pack that with the light diameter braid, you can get plenty on there.
I want to leave you with this. You know, we try to get more kids involved in this fishery. Mothers and fathers, if you have kids, boy, take them fishing. You don't have to take them out on the Black Hawk. You don't have to take them saltwater fishing. These guys are going ice fishing all the time.
I'm going ice fishing tomorrow. I'm sure there's good.
But take them fishing. There's too much of this in the world today, and not enough fishing and hunting and outdoor activities. Grandpas and grandmas, if you got grandkids, take them fishing. If you don't have kids, take a neighborhood kid fishing. But by all means, take somebody fishing. Okay, folks, thank you very much.
From Black Hawk.
On behalf of my friend CJ Adams,
And my dear friend Captain Greg DeBrule.
we'll see you next week, folks. Take care.
Thanks, guys.